How many different kinds of antennas do you think we can make out of all of that kit? Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Today is the Chameleon PRV Portable Resonant Vertical MCC Multi-Configuration Coil POTA Parks on the Air Heavy Kit. Let's get after it. There are a bunch of different ways to install this. I'm gonna start with putting the ground spike in the ground, and then I'm going to elevate the coil. Every way you do this, you get a little bit of different results, you get a little bit of different coverage. So lots of stuff to play with and figure out. Base or the stalk or the clamp mount or whatever it is. You get a 58-inch whip with this, so it's kind of a short whip actually. All right, radials. I got all 4 radials hooked up, and that stealthy wire is great for not being able to see. It's real strong wire, but I've already tripped over this once just setting it up for you guys for this video. Blends in real good with the grass. And then you get tent stakes to hold these radials in place. As always, they give you a nice hunk of ABR coax with a choke in it. I'm going to put the choke at the feed point of the antenna. For this setup, I'm going to use my X6100. I like this one because it has a built-in SWR scanner that actively updates in real time, so I can just kind of watch the whole thing go by while I'm doing my tuning work. It's a little hard to see on camera in the sun, but I'll tell you what's going on as we go. Let me get this thing set up and I'll be right back. I have no idea where we are. I haven't really set it up at all. I'm just gonna hit the button and see what happens. And we've got a dip. Any more dips? Another dip there at 14,350 or so. No, the first run doesn't look good, but like I said, I haven't even bothered to configure it. Inside the manual that comes with this antenna, there is a really good tuning procedure. It tells you where to go and what to do with it, and I have a video out tuning a very similar loaded coil antenna that goes through those exact same steps. So I'm not gonna repeat them here, but I will leave a link to that up above for you. I'm gonna get this thing tuned up, and then we're gonna see where my SWR results are. All right, so the display here is graduated into 11 horizontal segments. And you can see at the beginning we're at 13.954 frequency and we're at 2 to 1. And as we go higher in frequency, we start to get really close. Right around 14,262, it dips below that 2 mark, probably 1.3 to 1 at that range. And then at 14,339, we're at 1 to 1. There is a section right here on the screen where you can see the SWR graph. And when you start to see orange is where it gets bad. So let's see if we can get a good focus on that. There we go. So that's, take a look at the frequency number above and then take a look at that orange and you can see it disappear as you get higher in the band. And then the yellow vertical is the peak hold. So we're trying to look for the orange there. So somewhere between 14,260 and 14,350, this thing gets down to the 1 to 1 range. So in the manual, Chameleon has an entire table laid out as to how many ground radials you should have, how much coil you should have exposed, and those kinds of things. That's a good place to get you dialed in to start. And then from there, it is just a little bit of fine tuning. I have the 2 1-foot sections in, which is gonna get me, these are each 1 foot, so I'm 2 feet off the ground. And then I have just 1 radial connected to make this setup work for 20 meters. You can mount this coil on a tripod. You can use the included clamp mount to get it onto a picnic table, or you can put it directly in the ground on the ground spike like I have here. Lots of different ways to get this thing configured. And that is how much I wound up with 20 meters and this coil and these soil conditions. If you are up close and personal with the antenna while you are getting it configured, you are part of the near field and you're going to affect the antenna. If you touch the antenna while you're tuning it, you might get a little bit of a shock, probably not. I mean, I'm holding it now and we're doing the sweep and I'm not feeling jittery at all. Be advised, you are sending power to the antenna while you're doing your SWR scan. As you're touching it, you are becoming even more a part of the antenna and changing its configuration. So get in close to it, get it real close to where you want on SWR, stand back behind the end of your radials, and then make sure you're still good. Go in and make an adjustment, come back out and check, go in and make an adjustment, come back out and check. That's gonna be the key to success for an antenna like this one. All right, I've got this thing rearranged a little bit. And again, we're looking for a little tiny bit of orange up there, and we're somewhere around 14,300. See it moving, and right there, we get down to 1.3, 1.4 to 1. It's kind of the nature of these antennas. Let me show you the changes that I made. I pulled out the 2 feet of elevation with these here installed below the coil, they are not part of the antenna. And then I had to add back in 3 radials in order to get this to work. So it is actually pretty interesting how the radials, the amount of radials really affects the SWR on this. And then that is the amount of coil I've got showing to get it tuned in at that portion of the band. All right, I gotta tell you, this is a Friday. This would be a great day to go out and activate a park because there's no competition on 20 meters. The last signal I heard was 2 minutes ago. Crazy. Usually it's really busy. I guess because it's Mother's Day weekend coming up that people are getting busy making sure that they get their bonus points. I'm gonna change this around one more time. We're gonna see what happens if I take those 2 1-foot sections and put them above the coil, adding an additional 2 feet of radiating element. More wire is usually more better, and less coil is usually more better. But it's always a compromise as to which kind of antenna you take with you, because if I was to take a 65-foot whip with me, that would be a little unwieldy. If I was to take some wire with me and throw it in a tree, I would need to have throw weights, or I need to bring a mast or something along those lines. So it really depends on what mission you have at hand as to which antenna you want to bring and which one's going to satisfy the purpose fast enough. If I was in a certain type of park, I wouldn't be able to put any of these spikes in the ground. I'd lay the ground radials out, no tent stakes holding them up, and I would use the clamp or I'd use a tripod to get this antenna to be stable vertically. Let me go rearrange this thing. Now I've gone from 58 inches on the whip, which is about 5 feet. I've added the 2 1-foot sections below the whip, and so that gets us up to 7 feet of a radiating element. So it's gonna change our tuning on the coil, so I'm gonna try and mess with that a little bit. This is the 2 1-foot sections above the coil, and again, we're looking for the orange, and you can see it's 1.5 to 1 right now, and we get a real good dip right outside the band at 14,358 or so. But overall, we're 1.2 across the band, and that is pretty usable right there. So I always try to say that there is more than one way to do it. It's a motto that I picked up a long time ago that I think really holds me in good stead when it comes to ham radio type stuff. I've just shown you 3 different ways to get this antenna below 2 to 1 on 20 meters. And that's not all the different ways that you can use this antenna. There isn't any reason why you couldn't attach the 25-foot whip that Chameleon sells or the 17-foot whip that Chameleon sells. With the antenna in this configuration, the natural friction of the coil was just barely enough to hold it in place. There is a little plastic lock nut on there that you can twist into place to get it to not move up and down. Once you get it tuned in where you want it, it's really a good idea to set that, because the wind or somebody walking by or just somebody looking at it funny might cause it to change its tune. We still haven't even tried the tune radial, which makes this thing work a lot like a Buddy Stick Pro, or clamping it to the picnic table, but having it 2 feet off the ground with the 1-foot risers is just about the same. This here has an additional bolt on it for ground radials if you'd like to use that, and it's got a 3/8 24 mount, and pretty beefy. All right, FT8's all done. I want to talk a little bit about this coil. I want to give credit where credit is due, because Chameleon makes some really nice stuff. This is that plastic screw I was telling you about that locks this thing in place. So it'll move a little bit with some resistance. And then you just want to tighten this down so that it doesn't move anymore. You don't want to kill this because it's plastic screwing into aluminum. Something's going to give, but it's just designed to hold the coil to stop it from collapsing while you're doing your activation. The coil of wire itself is on the Delrin form that is custom made for Chameleon. You can kind of see right down the center there. We've got the SO239 on the bottom, and this is currently available in this really nice green color, as well as being available in black, a limited edition black model. So it's anodized green or anodized black. It's got the 3/8 24 stud on the bottom. It's got the 3/8 24 socket on the top, and I unscrewed that too much. Let me screw that back in before I lose it. And usually the way coils work is as you move up, you gain more wire in the coil itself as being part of the antenna. When you are fully extended, you're using all of this coil. There's a bit of inductance that comes because of the way this is wrapped, plus it is also actually length of wire. And then as you go down tighter, you're using less and less of the coil. So let's imagine that you're using 6 turns here, and here you're using 30 turns. Again, just numbers to illustrate the purpose there. If you look inside of this top section, there is a ring of copper. So it's going to make contact with every bit of that wire going around. You might even make contact with 2 wires going around, but that is a very nice setup. The other thing that I want to give Chameleon a lot of credit for is their whip designs. All of their whips are designed to be kind of industrial strength mil spec. So that is actually, that's the top section of the whip. That's how thick that is. That's pretty darn thick. Usually what manufacturers will do is they'll cut off the bottom sides of it in order to make up the total shortness or longness that's available on the telescoping part of the whip. You can also see that it is staked right there at the bottom. So this 3/8-24 part is part of this collar as well, and then the telescoping whip part goes down inside, and then it is staked all the way through. So you can see it there, you can see it there, and if the camera wants to cooperate, you can actually get a little bit of daylight through the center of that stake that's in there. But high quality whip, high quality coil. Chameleon's pretty well known for quality stuff. The bands were kind of crappy today, so I had to break out FT8 and make some contacts with it that way. They worked out pretty well once I got going in with things. I was able to make a good contact from Wisconsin over to a 3 call, which is going to be somewhere mid-Atlantic region, if the number's true to call. I was heard all the way up in Alaska in the Valdez area. That was pretty cool, but not making a whole lot of contacts. There were some pretty powerful stations. I was only running 5 watts, and there wasn't even a whole lot of people out doing POTA today. It was pretty crazy. I gave it a good, I don't know, check every half hour for 3 hours, and the band conditions just didn't improve today. They just weren't in my favor. May the bands be in your favor when you get this antenna and you get it on the air. I think it's just the conditions of the day today. This antenna is rated for some crazy power ratings. I'm gonna put it up on the screen, but from memory, I wanna say 500 sideband, 300 CW, 200 digital. That's kind of crazy. I don't have anything that'll put out more than 100 watts. If you can melt the coil, go for it. That Delrin stuff's pretty beefy. This antenna currently clocks in at about $674 in the configuration that I showed you. There are a couple of other configurations on the website as well, and I'll leave a link in the description down below for you. On your way down there, there is a couple of buttons right below the video. One of them is join. You'll help the channel grow because you'll help me to be able to put out more and more videos. And the other one is subscribe, and that sends YouTube a signal that ham radio is awesome, just like you are. And it'd be pretty cool if you press that button right there. After you check out the description down below for more information on this antenna, there is a video right over here I think you'll enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.